Hello, this is Frank Falvey with Frank Presents, and today it's my privilege and honor to introduce Tamisha Civil, who is running for the Democratic uh, position on September 3rd for the Governor's Council. Welcome to Tamisha. How you doing?
Thank you. Thank you. I'm doing great. Thank you for having me, Frank. It's an honor and a privilege to be with you today as well to talk to you about my candidacy for Governor's Council and as well as to inform the community of Franklin.
Well, let's inform people what is the purpose of the Governor's Council. What do they do?
Well, the Governor's Council nominate judges, parole board members, clerk magistrates, and they do and industrial accidents and other public administrators within the judicial system, as well as commutation, pardons, notary public, and justice of the peace. Excuse me.
And what education and background do you feel qualifies you to be a governor's counselor?
Well, I'm a product of Dover Sherborne Regional High School. I went to Dover Sherborne, and I have a master's degree from Northeastern University in criminal justice and leadership. So my education and my has played a role in me running because I was the first to run to the first to graduate in my family with a master's degree.
Northeastern is an outstanding university, and your
It is, and
degree,
I'm a proud alumni.
yeah. And did you participate in their famous going to work during your education?
I'm sorry.
Does Northeastern, when you went there, still have the semester like work program,
The co-op program,
the
it is
co-op
still
program?
available. Yes,
And did you take advantage of it?
I absolutely did.
And how did you enjoy it?
It opened up it opened up a broad wider range of things for me to learn, the criminal justice system, how it works, and who are involved in the criminal justice system, and learning the different ways that the criminal justice can impact someone's life.
And what do you do for employment or your past employment?
Well, I started off working at the Suffolk County District Attorney's Office as a victim witness advocate, helping victims that have been impacted by crime navigate the complex system in the major felony unit. I've worked in various courts in the trial court of Massachusetts for the last decade. And one of the things that we do is when seniors have been impacted by financial exploitation by family members, friends, or organizations or power of attorneys, we help them get some type of restitution back to what was taken from them. I help women with domestic violence and children that has been suffered by domestic violence, helping them get the resource and access they need. I'm a legal advocate as well for a domestic violence homeless shelter. And currently, right now, as a full-time employee, I work as an associate probation officer for the Massachusetts Probation Department. And what I do is I supervise those who have committed time and are ready to get back into the community to be able to be supervised by getting treatment, mental health treatment, substance abuse treatment. And I've also worked in juvenile court, veterans to refer them to the veterans court. I've worked in civil court, and I've had numerous contacts with other people who's working in the courtroom to make sure that the cases are going forward. I work alongside of judges 8 hours a day, 40 hours a week. I work alongside of police officers, uh, defense attorneys, assistant district attorneys, and but most importantly, working alongside of judges that I can see their temperament, I see how they think, and I can see the good ones and I can see not so good ones. So it is important for me as a candidate to be the governor's counsel because I've had the opportunity to work alongside of judges, to know how they think, and to make sure that they're being fair and impartial in every way in the criminal justice system.
When people think of governor's council, I think they normally think, well, this is a position that should be filled by an attorney. But I think
Mhm.
there's a lot more to be said that the position be filled by a non-attorney. What's
Right.
your prospect on that?
That's an excellent question. And my answer to you and to those who are tuning in is that first, you do not have to be an attorney to be on the governor's council, right? There's mental health professionals on the governor's council, there's school committees, members that are on the governor's council. And I've actually been endorsed by Governor Council Tara Jacobs, which is out in District 8. And she is a school committee member, and she endorsed me, and she's not an attorney. But we got to think about it this way, right? If we keep nominating judges and you have attorneys that are only on the council, how is that ethical? How are we going to make sure that everyone has a fair shot, right? So if you're on the council, you're an attorney, and you're nominating another attorney that you will know or come across in the criminal justice system, 9 out of 10, when you're listening to a case, when you're bringing a case forward, most likely you will encounter that judge you nominated or that attorney you nominated to become a judge. Now, as a person in the community, how is that going to be fair to me and anyone else? We want to make sure that we have fair judges. We want to make sure that judges are fair and impartial and are able to see through the community and what people are actually going through. So we want to be careful if we want to make sure that we have a judicial system that is going to be a voice for everyone, to make sure that there's representation all across the board. And when I say representation, keep in mind there has never been a woman of color on the council for 244 years. So we definitely need that representation, which I bring. And I also bring representation in domestic violence, working with women and children battered by domestic violence, people who are suffering mental health and substance abuse. You know, we need to make sure that we have someone that can represent everyone, regardless of the walks of life that they have come from.
The the range of appointments that you make are from Superior Court Chief Justice of the state of Massachusetts to Family Court to the Workmen's Compensation Board to approving notary publics and the so there's a wide discrepancy in what the position calls for.
Right.
What you might want to see in a family court judge isn't necessarily anywhere close what you might want to see in the Workman's Comp Industrial Accident Board. So how
Right.
do you evaluate the the position and the person being nominated for that position?
Well, this is the most important part. As a counselor, your job is to vet the nominee thoroughly. And we need to start asking hard questions. What do you know about family and probate court? What do you know about workers' compensation? What do you know about substance abuse or mental health? It's important to know the judicial nominee that we are vetting, that they have some type of understanding of what these issues are and what kind of organizations that they've been part of. What kind of commitment in these communities have they been affiliated with? What are their ideology? So I'm not saying that attorneys who are looking to become judges have no idea. What I'm saying is you have to be consistent with being part of a community that you want to serve. Let's keep it real. Most of these attorneys that come in to become judges are corporate attorneys. What do they know about substance abuse? Do they know that a substance abuse is a disease and that it should be treated as disease and not to incarcerate someone based on the disease that they're battling? So there are questions when you're vetting nominees, and by getting their answer, that will give the counselor an understanding their position once they're ready to fill in that seat that they're looking for.
Tamisha, can you walk us through what happens at the beginning before the nomination ever comes to you? What's the beginning of reviewing candidates, and how much paperwork and detail go on before it comes to you?
Well, there's a lot. It's an application process. It is open and it's available for any attorney who would like to be nominated as a judge.
Well, they
It
don't
goes
have to
to
be attorneys for certain.
Well,
For,
they
for,
don't have to be for judges, but I'm talking about for like parole board members. There is an application available, right, for that particular position to be nominated to become a parole board member or to become a judge. You will complete that application. It will go before the governor, and then the governor will present it over to the council. And then the council has to thoroughly look over the application, ask a series of questions, financial backgrounds, and then the eight council will move on from there by vetting them.
the, the process is political in many respects. That the
Right.
governor, rightly or wrongly, may be nominating people that they are close to, people that they have worked with politically over a number of years. And if the governor is of the same political party you are, and the lieutenant governor is the chair of the governor's council, how do you see your role if there's someone that you think maybe isn't qualified?
Well, what I can say is that everyone knows someone, right? But ultimately, the goal is to make sure that we stand against injustice in many ways and making the system fairer. Now, I'm not a person that could be coerced or forced to nominate someone that does not align with the ideology of District 2 or the constituents. However, if being presented a nominee, it's not only my job to vet the nominee, it's also the responsibility of other counselors. Now, if this person has the qualification. This person has been doing diligent work, has been doing advocacy work in the community that they serve. They should not be punished based on someone they know. They are being vetted based on their qualification. Qualification is important to me and what you can do for your community. And it's my job to make sure that the qualities that the District 2 and the people that they are looking to serve, that they are able to fulfill that requirement.
How much does this position pay, and how much time do you think you would be spending on deep review of what's coming before you, and how often do they meet?
Thank you for that question. So it's only $35,000 a year. You can't live off of that. So I would have to take a second job. That is one. Two, they meet every Wednesdays to sit and vet nominees and through the hearings on a Wednesday at the State House. Now, what I plan on doing is not only am I going to be on the council, but I want to make sure that there's partnerships. I want to make sure that the community is aware of these nominees that are looking to be part of the judicial system, that communities are updated with the process and making the hearings public, communicating the dates and the times of the hearings. Communication is key for me. And I believe that is one of the reasons why a lot of people are not familiar with the Governor's Council, because people never talk about it. And my job is to make sure that people are aware of what the governor council does and how to get access to the hearing and to make it public of those who are seeking to be nominees. So it's important for me to keep that bridge open for the constituents of District 2.
Well, maybe you can tell the audience how it is televised, and would you always support it being televised?
I think it is important for it to be televised. And you can go on the Governor's Council webpage, on the state page, and they are there for you to watch. They're also on YouTube. But the information is there, but how is it being transmitted? That's the question. So we always want to make it open for the public to know that the public hearing is being aired, the time, the place, and when, and it's open for people to come in. I don't think people know that. And communication again is definitely the key, and communicating that and letting people know that it's a public hearing, and if they have the desire to attend one or two, that is an option for them.
What specifically is moving you to run to be on the governor's council? Is there a story behind you that prompted you to run for this position?
That's an excellent question. There's several reasons why I'm running, which is my lived experience, my professional experience, and having the education to continue my career in criminal justice. But what has impacted me in my family was when my cousin was incarcerated for 27 years for a crime he did not commit in the city of Boston. He was exonerated in 2021 of all the charges, and the impacts that had on my family was tremendous. And I vowed to make sure that anyone that I come into contact in the criminal justice system, that I'm able to help them, in whether you're a victim, whether you're a defendant, to help them get the resources that they need and not let anyone fall behind. Because we know that the criminal justice system is not fair. We know that it can stand against those who are in the marginalized community. We know that there is some biases. So I want to make sure, based on my education, my experience, and working professionally alongside of judges, that we make sure that people are aware that it's a people's court and not a judge's court.
The the parole board.
Yes.
The only thing that you do in relationship to pardons and paroles is to approve the nominations of the
Mm-hmm.
parole board. Is that correct?
No, so for the parole board, you nominate parole board members.
Right.
So if you are a police officer, a mental health professional, or someone with some type of criminal legal experience, you would like to be a parole board member, you would simply be nominated you would complete an application to be nominated by the governor. But the council would also vet them as well. And there are a series of questions you can ask. Myself as a associate probation officer, I've worked with parole board members when I was working for the Suffolk County District Attorney's Office as a victim witness advocate. I've attended numerous parole board hearings with victims, making sure that they have the support that they need and they understand the process. They understand what's happening in the parole board hearing. And when you nominate a parole board member, that member should understand the impacts that happened to that victim. That is one. Understanding the case, understanding the impact the case had on the person that was the victim, but also allowing the offender the opportunity to be rehabilitated, making sure that if they are going to be releasing a offender, what resources and access are available to prepare them to get into society, but what have they been doing when they were incarcerated? Were they going into treatment programs? Were they going to school? Did they learn any trade? But ultimately, they need to decide whether or not this person is able to come back into the community and to be able to be a contributing member in the community as well. But making sure that there are systems in place for one, not to have this happen again, but two, maintaining the protection of the victim, but also being aware the case and what kind of case it was, and making sure that both victim and offenders can be members of society.
But the Governor's Council does not take any vote on paroling any individual, is my point.
Okay.
Is that correct?
Yes.
It is the fact that you nominate, I mean, not nominate, you approve the nomination of
Yes.
people to the parole board.
That is correct.
Much of what you do doesn't concern the criminal justice system. It concerns workman's comp, it concerns judges in family courts. How do you view what should be happening in the nomination process that doesn't involve criminal justice? Do you have a special way of evaluating and distinguishing between the two?
I think the most important part is looking at the background, looking at the experience of this individual, looking at what they have done, looking at of the series of experience, I would say, of them trying to be in the judicial system. What have they done in order to be part of a solution that impacts the lives of people that come into the criminal justice system?
Tamisha, civil candidate for governor's council, what's the question that I haven't asked you that you just love to speak to and explain to our audience?
Well, one of the questions that you can ask me is what is one of the things that you see in a courtroom working alongside of judges that makes me want to be part of the council?
I
And my
asked you that
answer,
question.
I'm sorry.
That's the question I'm asking you.
Okay. Well, what makes me that candidate and a person for that is because when you work alongside of judges every day, you get to form a relationship. You get to form a communication that helps you understand the thought process of a judge, their temperament, how it's important if they're empathy or they empathetic towards an individual. You understand if they know what substance or mental health is and how can they find a solution to help this person battle this disease such as substance abuse. So I've had the privilege of working with my current judge to see how important that has been for him to make sure to provide resources and access to individuals who are battling with substance abuse. It may be alcohol, it may be drugs, and how it can affect someone's life. But when you provide them the treatment that they need, they can definitely be restored into society. And and I see that the current judge that I work gets that. But we want to make sure those that we are looking to put on the benches understand that as well.
How can individuals reach you that want to be part of your campaign or want to know more about your campaign?
Sure. They can visit me at www.tamishacivil.com, or if they would like to volunteer, they would like to donate to my campaign because we are running a grassroots campaign, they can definitely go on tamishacivil.com.
Tamisha Civil, I appreciate you coming on this program. I wish you the best of election results and I hope that we have a chance to meet again and talk more about the Governor's Council in civil justice. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Frank.
You're
Thank you for
welcome.
the opportunity, and thank you for those who are tuning in.
And to those that are watching, we appreciate your watching, and please take an interest in the Governor's Council, and remember in Franklin, Mass. To go to the polls on September 3rd at the Field House. And, you know, if you happen to see me on that day, you can wish me a happy birthday. Thank you.
This program was made possible by your Franklin friends and neighbors, good folks just like you. Thanks for supporting Franklin TV. And thanks for watching.